and welcome to sacradio.com. This website is basically a DVR for Scanner listeners to be able to pause, rewind, download audio, things like that from police and fire located in the Sacramento County. So here is what we cover. We'll go into the frequently asked questions really quick and tell you what we cover. We cover all of Sac County Fire. We cover Citrus Heights PD, Folsom PD, Sac PD, Galt PD, Elk Grove PD, the Airport Fire as well, Regional Transit PD, Sac Sheriff, and we hope to add CHP soon. They use CHP Gold and CHP Black, which we hope to have added to the system soon. This will also cover how delayed the audio is, where the system is located, which browsers are best, how many frequencies we monitor, things like that. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and check out the frequently asked questions. Also, you're going to want to bookmark this webpage right here, sac-radio.com. You do not want to bookmark where we're going to go eventually with a listen here, because this is where you will see if we're going to have any system maintenance, when the system's going to be down, things of that nature that you would want to know. So you'll want to hit this opening splash page before you dive into the listen here each time you come here, so that you see what's happening, if there's any maintenance coming up, if there's any issues known on the system, like we're having an issue with something, we would post that. So also you can go into the system status, which will tell you what our system status is. Overall, we're currently online and green, and you can see that we have we're connected to Sacramento's P25 digital system, and we hope to bring CHP Gold and CHP Black. Currently, they're disconnected. We hope to add the functionality to that system soon and get some of those antennas online. So without further delay, here is the system. And the reason that we wanted to make this video was this website, this system is not super intuitive. It will tell you a lot of things. It is very powerful. You can really get down into the nitty-gritty of what you want to hear. So what this website does best is its DVR functions. For example, you're sitting at home, you hear a siren, you don't think much of it. You hear a second siren, you're like, wow, that's interesting. You hear a third, you hear a fourth, now you're starting to get interested. Now there's a fifth and a sixth siren that you're hearing. And then there's a helicopter over your house and you're wondering what happened. Your traditional scanners, by the time that all of that has occurred and you tune into your traditional scanners, whether you own one physically or whether you jump on Broadcastify or something like that, the original call has already gone out. So you have no idea what started the call, and you're just getting little bits and pieces of information as it's happening right then, but it doesn't tell you the full picture. And that's where this website becomes very, very, very powerful, is if you hear something in your neighborhood, say you're in the Citrus Heights neighborhood, we can instantly filter this down to Citrus Heights PD only and add fire to it if we wanted to, so we could hear Citrus Heights PD and Sac County Fire, and roll the system back 30 minutes or so, 20, 30, maybe even 40 minutes if you need, and you will be able to hear the original call out that caused all the commotion in your neighborhood. You'll be able to hear every single thing that is said. Every time an officer or a helicopter keys up a mic, it's going to create a new line item in here for us. And that's what makes this system so powerful, is the ability to instantly rewind, listen to things, and you don't have to listen to any dead air when you are rewinding. It's going to fast forward all of that for you, so you only hear the actual audio. Now, one of the limitations of the system, and any scanning system for that matter, is the fact that if something is encrypted, which Sacramento uses a lot of encrypted, you will not be able to hear that on this system or any other system for that matter. And there's not anything we can do about that. Once they decide to go to an encrypted channel, then we can no longer hear that. Although the good news is most of the time that traffic is just personal information. It's typically not stuff that you're really interested in. Most of what's covered on there is birthdays, social security numbers, things like that. And you don't usually have a lot on there. They also put a lot of no-knock warrants and things like that where they don't want people to know they're coming. So anyway, let's get into how the system works just generally really quickly. So the first thing you're going to notice is that as I've been talking, there have been these items just cascading from the top, pushing things down the list. And that is every time someone keys up a mic in Sacramento County, as long as it's not as encrypted and as long as it's something we're interested in listening to that's been configured, then it will appear in this system and in this list. So every time someone finishes keying up their radio, it's going to write a new line right here for us. And if we click the plus over here, we can even download that audio in an MP3 format. So if you hear something crazy or funny, I have a collection of funny items and things like that. You're able to go ahead and click download, and you can save that MP3 or post it or whatever you'd like to do. And when we listen from the bottom up. So if we click on this, it's going to continuously go up as long as continuous playback is turned on. It's just going to keep going up the list. New things are going to keep dropping down. And if we reach the top like this, the system is going to stop once it gets to the top, and which may not happen because it's pretty busy right now. But you will want to make sure that autoplay new calls is also checked, because once this system reaches the top, if there's nothing new, then it's just going to stop and hold there. So you want to make sure continuous playback is turned on and autoplay new calls is turned on. Also, if you have not turned on any filtering, you may get so much information in here so quickly that you're unable to keep up with live. And what I mean by that is if these calls are coming in from the top faster than you're able to listen to them, for example, there are 3 minutes of police and fire keying up their radios in an actual 60-second period, you're not going to be able to keep up with that because there's too much audio. You can't listen to 3 minutes of audio in a 60-second window without speeding up the audio or listening to multiple things simultaneously or something like that. So this system, that is its one downside, or at least the downside to listening to a really busy system like Sacramento, is you may not be able to keep up with live listening to everything going on in the county at once. So what happens is if this slowly does get pushed down off to the bottom here, if what you're listening to gets pushed off to the bottom of the page and off the bottom of the page, then it's just going to start back over at the top again, which may be fine if you're just casually listening. But if you wanted to hear certain things, it's going to skip over all of this stuff that you may have wanted to listen to because it's taking you back to the top of the first page. So we highly recommend filtering for whatever you want to listen to. And here is how filtering is done. So in order to filter things, we have some basic options here. So these options over here on the left are things like fire only. So if we click this, our feed that you see here is only going to turn into fire. So you're going to hear anything that has to do with Sac County fire or Sac City fire, because they are also on this system. You will hear the automated dispatchers, things like this.
76, medical aid, district 71.
So that's a medical aid going out. This was recorded on May 16th of 2024. So this is just the stuff that's coming in now. This video will probably be up for years. So A lot of this stuff may not be relevant, but at least knowing how to use the system is the important part. So that's changed our feed to just show us fire. We're not listening to any police, just fire. We also have an all police and sheriff only. So if you only want to hear law enforcement, this gives you all law enforcement with no fire. So now you have no fire involved in any of your feed, and what you're listening to, you will not hear fire trucks or dispatches or anything like that. You can also filter down to local cities like Citrus Heights PD, Elk Grove PD, things like that. This is really useful for like your neighborhood or what's near you. So for me, I live in Placer County, but I'm very close to Citrus Heights, so I often listen to what's going on in Citrus Heights because I can hear those sirens and hear their helicopters and things like that. So selecting Citrus Heights PD is now going to give me just Citrus Heights PD in this feed. And so we can go back, if I hear sirens, we can literally say Citrus Heights PD. I can go back, start, roll this back, 20 minutes or so to 2 o'clock. That's a full hour right now. And listen to all of these calls sequentially just by clicking the first one. And it's going to, as long as we have continuous play turned on, it's going to just go to the next call, to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's just going to work its way up the list. You can see the time. And new calls are going to keep dropping in from the top. So, like I said, depending on how much is coming in or going out is going to depend on how fast you can catch back up to live when you're listening to this. Now, that's if you just want to listen to one particular group. These are just general groups, very simple filtering. If we want to take it to a next level of filtering, where let's say we wanted to hear fire mixed in with Citrus Heights PD, this is where you can do that. So you can come in here, we can type in Citrus Heights. So we want PD1 and Citrus Heights PD2. And I believe Citrus Heights is on Fire Command A, or Dispatch A. And then I'm not sure what command they're on, but we could listen to the dispatch, the automated dispatch on A, and it's going to tell us what the command is going to be on. So then we can come in here and we can come back to Fire Command A, whatever the case may be, A2, A3, A4. So let's say we turned on Fire Command A4, Dispatch A, Citrus Heights PD 1 and 2, and so now we have a custom feed that just has those 4 items in it. So we're going to hear all the automated dispatches. We're going to hear anything on Fire Command A4. Let's go ahead and add A1 because that one's probably a little busier. So we'll add in A2, I guess. We'll add in A2. There we go. That's got a lot more in it. And I don't have a map of all of the fire in Sacramento County. So you may be able to go out and look around and find that and see what you can find. And maybe that will help you more narrow this down. But this system gives you the flexibility to do whatever you'd like. So now you've got the Fire Dispatch A mixed in with the Command A, 2, and 3, which, by the way, these together, the reason these are together like that is they're currently simulcast together. So they are transmitting on both A2 and A3 simultaneously, known as a simulcast, and that's almost always the way Fire does a lot of their stuff. So just get used to that. So we roll back and, like I said, we can roll back an hour, we can roll back 10 minutes, whatever you'd like. If you see something on the news and you want to roll back to a different date, like the 2nd to the 3rd or something like that, we can select May 2nd here and 3rd and click apply. And now it's going to roll this system back to basically midnight on the 2nd. And we can continue to take this back by the pages over here. So right now we're looking at midnight on the 2nd. We roll this back. We can go back to 8 p.m., do a ton of clicking. We can get to the morning hours if we want by rolling this back on the pages. So now we're at 3 a.m. So this is Citrus Heights PD mixed in with our fire command that we talked about earlier. We can hear the dispatchers. We can hear, here's an automated dispatch call again at 3 o'clock in the morning on the 2nd. So it's a medical aid level 2, and you can listen to the command later on. So you can hear them looking for an apartment number as they arrive on scene and things like that, talking back and forth. So that's what this system is. If you want to get really crazy, you can use the source IDs. That is the radio IDs of the radio that is keying up in the digital system. You can then sort and filter by those. So if you have an officer or you're monitoring a call that's going on, you can take those numbers and you can place them in here, and now the system will only show you things coming from those numbers. So for example, this is an officer currently on Sheriff Main 2 in the east. So he's at Watt and Marconi. He's running a license plate. And let's say we wanted to see everything that officer has said. We can do that, and now this is every time that, not necessarily the officer, I suppose, but the radio. Every time that radio has been keyed up in that date range that we set, now we can see all of that. If we wanted to see dispatch responding to him, then we would just add that ID back in there as well. So that is the system. It is very powerful. It has a lot of features. For the casual listener, like I said, the biggest thing is probably just selecting what you'd like to listen to over here, or getting a little more refined with the talk groups if you want fire and your PD mixed together, or you just want something very specific. But that is the system. Welcome to Sac Radio. If you want to check out our sister site, placer-radio.com, that covers all of Placer County, or at least a lot of Placer County. Placer County is a lot more split up, so it's much harder to capture all of their radio traffic because it goes all the way to Tahoe. So getting things set up in the Tahoe area to capture those radio signals that we don't receive down here in the valley is particularly difficult. So anyway, that is the system. Email us if you have any questions or issues. Also, if you love the system and find it useful, feel free to send us $5 for a cup of coffee or something like that, because this system is very expensive to maintain and run. Unlike your traditional scanners, this thing can literally capture 30 different people keying up all simultaneously, which your normal scanners that you buy off the shelf or on Amazon are only going to be able to give you 2 to 4 things simultaneously, and you're going to miss everything else in between. So anyway, hope you enjoy. That's it for now. Thanks.